y'all, welcome to Restless Chipotle Kitchen. Did you ever wish that you could make a rich, creamy gravy without lumps that would go with any of your meals, that you just knew the magic formula for cream gravy, biscuits and gravy, brown gravy, chicken gravy, turkey gravy? Well, today I'm going to give it to you. So what is all this stuff? Well, if you're going to make gravy, you need basically three things. You need a thickener, which is generally flour. You need a fat, which could be bacon fat, bacon grease, butter, oil, drippings from your chicken or your turkey or your pot roast. Any kind of fat will work. And then you need the liquid, which could be milk if you're making a cream gravy, or chicken stock, beef stock if you're making brown gravy, turkey stock if you're making turkey gravy. You just need a liquid, okay? And that is basically what gravy is. Now, to make it even better, we add salt and pepper, and sometimes maybe some onion salt, or maybe we want an onion gravy, so we'll make brown gravy and we'll saute the onions in some butter first before we make the gravy, and do that all in the pan. But if you're talking about basic gravy, then you're talking about fat, flour, and liquid, okay? And that is it. Now, the trick to it is how you put those things together, and that's what I'm going to show you today. So easy. You're never going to have to worry about lumps if you do it this way, and it's always going to come out thick and smooth and delicious. I use a 1/4 cup of flour, a 1/4 cup of fat, and 2 cups of liquid for my gravy. There are other recipes, there's other ways to do it, but that's what I'm going to show you today, and that's how I do it. Okay, we've talked about ingredients. Now let's talk about tools. You're going to need a whisk, and there's 2 basic kinds of whisks that you can use. This is a balloon whisk, and it's what you think of when you think about making a sauce or making a pudding. This is the one that I use most often. This is called a ball whisk, and the reason for that are all the little balls on the end. And a lot of people, my really close best friend included, prefer this because they can scrape the bottom of the pan while they're mixing their gravy and make sure that nothing gets burnt on or scorched. And because of the way that it's shaped, kind of on an angle, the ball whisk will get into the corners of your pan. So either one is fine. I would suggest some kind of whisk over a spoon. It's just easier to get all of the lumps out. I prefer the ball whisk. I prefer the balloon whisk, but y'all can try both and see what you like best, okay? What works best for you. That's important. And then for the last tool that you're going to need, y'all probably know what I'm going to say, an iron skillet. There's just no substitute in the kitchen for an iron skillet. I feel like every kitchen needs one. It makes it much easier to make your gravy in. The heat, everything heats evenly. There's no hot spots or cold spots, and things are much less likely to scorch or to burn with an iron skillet. So that's really all you need. It's actually pretty simple. What we're going to do is I am going to make a cream gravy or white gravy first with bacon grease, and then I'm going to clean my pan out, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you how to make a chicken gravy, which you can use variations to make chicken or beef brown gravy or turkey gravy. So by making both of them, my hope is that you have what you need to make any kind of gravy you want. Also, there is a blog post on the blog that has the basic recipe, and it has a whole bunch of variations from mushroom gravy to onion gravy to you name it, all kinds of variations, including vegan gravy. So if you're vegan and you want to make gravy, you can still do it. You're just going to use like oat milk and a vegan butter, okay? All right, but that's all on the blog. Today we're just going to do the cream gravy and the chicken gravy. Okay, for the cream gravy, we're going to need 2 cups of milk, 1/4 a cup of flour, and this is just plain all-purpose flour. And you don't have to worry too much about making sure that this measurement is exact, but I always use the scoop method of measuring. This is a 1/4 a cup measure. Just put it in there and level it off. And then 1/4 a cup of bacon grease, which I made bacon the other day, and I always save the grease, put it in the fridge, because you never know when you're going to need it. The first thing that we're going to do, and you're going to want pepper and salt to taste, okay? First thing we're going to do is we're going to heat the milk up. That's going to help when we put everything in. It's going to help it stay smoother and mix better. So always start your gravy with hot milk, okay? So I'm going to put this in the microwave and I'll be right back. Okay, we're going to put our bacon fat in and turn the heat on. And then we're going to melt that down real quick. You want your fat to be a liquid before you add your flour. Very important. And we'll just let that melt down. Now, if I was making chicken gravy, then I would use chicken fat if possible. If you don't have chicken fat, which I will show you, because I don't have any chicken fat or turkey drippings for the gravy that I'm about to make, the chicken gravy I'm about to make. I don't like bacon grease in chicken gravy, so I use butter when I don't have drippings, okay? But the bacon grease in cream gravy is amazing. You could also use butter for this. So we're just going to let this melt down till it's a complete liquid, and heat it up. And that's going to happen really fast. Okay? Now, if I was going to make, say, an onion cream gravy or something like that, I would go ahead and put my onions in to saute right now. But I'm not, so we're just making this way. I just want to make that note that this would be where you put your garlic in to saute, or your onions, or whatever it was that you were going to saute in here. Okay? And now we're going to put in our flour, and we're going to stir that around. It's okay if your flour gets lumpy when you first put it in. You just want to keep stirring that until all of the lumps are gone. And then you want to set a timer. I've got a handy dandy watch here. I'm going to set my timer for 2 minutes. Okay, 2 minutes. That's how long you want your flour to cook, 2 to 3 minutes. That takes all of the raw flavor out of the flour, and it adds a nice little extra kind of toasty flavor almost. Okay, and you don't want to let this get too brown at this point. You're just cooking it. Now, if you are making a different kind of gravy, you might want to let your flour brown a little bit more, especially like a brown gravy. The flour will get toastier, it'll have more of a flavor. But with cream gravy, you want to make sure that you let it cook for the 2 to 3 minutes to get rid of any raw flavor, but you want to turn the temperature down to low or medium so that you're not actually burning or scorching the flour. And you want to just stir it every once in a while to make sure that it doesn't get caught up in the corners, that it doesn't scorch. And this is where that ball whisk comes in that I said people like. Look at that. Look how nicely that gets in the corners. So that's how that works, okay? I like my balloon whisk. I'm kind of attached to it, so there you go. You do want to kind of keep the flour moving around to make sure it doesn't scorch. And now we're going to turn the heat back up, and we're going to add in the hot milk. And we're going to stir while we're adding it. Do not worry about the lumps that are going to form. Just keep stirring them out. Just keep stirring them out, because they are going to go away if you keep stirring. And then, once the milk is in there, you're just going to stir it. See how all those lumps went away and this is smooth now? That's because the milk was hot and the flour was well mixed into the fat. Now all we have to do is keep stirring and make sure you get in the edges so you don't have any scorching. Keep stirring until it thickens up. And that's going to take a minute or two. But you can kind of tell that it is getting thick. Right, we're just going to keep stirring it and let it thicken up to however thick you want it. If it gets too thick, add a little bit more milk. If it's too thin, just keep cooking it. And for me, I think that's about right. So I'm going to turn the heat off. And there we have some really beautiful gravy. And it was as easy as that. Now, the only other thing we need to do is to put the salt and pepper in to taste. Now, I've talked to a lot of people and they have different ideas about how pepper should go into gravy. And I have my own ideas too. I like pepper and I like it in my white gravy, my cream gravy or milk gravy, whatever you want to call it. And I put a lot in. If you don't want that much, don't put that much in. It's completely up to you. All right, have a little taste. And that, my friends, is absolutely delicious. All right, now we're ready to make our second kind of gravy, which is the gravy with meat drippings or chicken drippings or turkey drippings, okay? And what we're going to use for fat for that, today we're going to use butter. But if you have the actual drippings, if you've roasted chicken or done a pot roast or something like that, then you'll have drippings from the meat that you have and you'll want to use that. But today I'm using butter because I don't have drippings. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to melt the fat in the pan, and we want to make sure, especially if you're using butter, that it doesn't brown. So melt it kind of on low heat. Also, when I'm using chicken broth or chicken stock, I'll put a teaspoon or so, sometimes a tablespoon of the better than bouillon in there, just to give it more of a chicken flavor. Or if I'm using beef, the better than bouillon beef, I'll put some in there to give that just a stronger flavor for my gravy. All right, our butter is melted, or just about melted. And so we're going to put the flour in. and stir it around just like we did last time. The only difference between cream gravy and chicken gravy, turkey gravy, brown gravy, the only difference is in the liquid that you use. So keep in mind, we do the same thing. We put it in there, and then we set the timer for 2 minutes. And then you want to keep stirring it because you don't want the flour to burn. Some people like the flour to get a little darker, and they will cook it a little longer than that, 2 or 3 minutes, and that's fine. This part of the gravy is called a roux, R-O-U-X, and it's just simply a mixture of fat and flour, and you're cooking the flour to get the raw taste out of the flour. If you continue to cook it past the 2 to 3 minute point, you need to stir it carefully. It takes on kind of a nutty flavor that some people like. I don't care for it. And like if you're making a gumbo, you're going to cook this roux until it's really dark usually. But I don't really care for that in gravy, so I only cook it to about the 2.5 minute mark. Okay, our roux is cooked, and the chicken stock is hot, so I'm going to pour that in while I'm stirring. And then I'm going to keep stirring. I'm going to get all the lumps out. And I'm just going to keep stirring, making sure to get in the edges of the pan until the gravy thickens up. It's starting to thicken up, so now I'm just going to watch it and make sure that it's as thick as I want it to be, which it just about is. I like for my chicken gravy to coat the spoon, where I can put a track in there. I'm going to taste it. Because of the bouillon, it is definitely salty enough. So I'm just going to put some pepper in there. And I think that for today I'm going to put just a pinch of onion powder and garlic powder in there. There's my powdered garlic, and there's a pinch of onion powder. Mix that in good. See what we got. Oh my gosh, that's good. Perfect for putting over your roast chicken, for mashed potatoes if you're serving chicken, or at Thanksgiving doing this with turkey drippings and turkey stock. You're going to have a delicious, smooth, velvety, silky gravy. So here it is, rich, lump-free, delicious gravy. Perfect for Thanksgiving. You never have to sweat making gravy again. You'll never buy another can of gravy. There's no reason to. This is so easy. It takes less than 5 minutes, and it comes out perfect every time. Well, y'all, that's it for me this week. I hope you'll come back next week. I hope you'll subscribe and leave a good comment and a thumbs up, okay? Love y'all, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.